While Dr. Stephen Strange is the most well-known Sorcerer Supreme, he is not the first or the only to hold the title, in the main reality or across other realities besides. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. Today we are going to be traveling through the pages of comics to alternate worlds and back into the past, as well as ahead to the future, as we count down the top 10 most powerful Sorcerer Supremes, taking a look at some of the most powerful magic users and just individuals in general to hold the title. Let's get counting. Number 10, Beast. We only get to see this version of Beast, aka Dr. McCoy, scientist, mutant, and Sorcerer Supreme, once in the comics, at least as far as I can tell. That's all we've seen of him thus far. Weirdly enough, he appeared in a secondary story at the end of an issue of X Factor from the early 2000s. Here, Doctor Strange takes Beast on a journey to see all of his alternate selves and how they approach the issue of trying to save mutant kind. One such alternate they see is Sorcerer Supreme Beast himself, who approaches the High Evolutionary for assistance, but once denied help, decides he will use his own abilities to try and restore mutant kind following M-Day. That is like a big thing to try. To be like, I'm just gonna magic us out of here. Actually, Wanda kind of tried to do that. Didn't work well. It wasn't M-Day, it was Genosha, but still. Number 9, Norrin Radd. We don't see much of this version of Norrin Radd from a mixed-up alternate universe where characters and roles seemingly become swapped or like kind of meshed together. But I just love the concept of this, so I had to share that it happened at least once, even if it was a brief and kind of weird thing. This alternate version of the Silver Surfer is also the Sorcerer Supreme in his reality, and is also presumably not currently the Herald of Galactus, but still presumably has the power cosmic somehow, and is of course still silver. Here we see him help the alternate version of the Fantastic Four, known as the Terrific Trio, who are receiving a signal from the main continuity team to warn them about reality becoming warped. He might refer to himself as a glorified television repairman in the comic, but you have to admit, being both the master of the mystical arts and possessing the power cosmic as well would be pretty OP for a Sorcerer Supreme. Or should be anyways. And before we move on to this next point, just a quick reminder, if you are enjoying this video and want more like it, do give us a thumbs up. It really also does help us out a lot here at the channel. Number 8, Loki. Loki actually tricked Dr. Stephen Strange out of the title, if you can believe it. Of course, in the end, Stephen never truly believed that this was the way things should be, and went to great lengths to try and reclaim his title. How did Loki do this, by the way? Well, by convincing Stephen that he was no longer the chosen Sorcerer Supreme, master of mischief and illusions that he is. Fortunately, in the end, the two ended up teaming together, and just as they were about to bury the hatchet, the truth was forced out of Loki as to how and why he really took the title in the first place. Loki might not be the most powerful Sorcerer Supreme out there, but he was definitely a super fun one, that's for sure. And for that, I'm gonna give him some bonus power points. Also, he looks really good as the Sorcerer Supreme. Can we just all acknowledge that? Number 7, Salome. Salome is an ancient magic user who claimed to be the first Earthling to have ever been made a Sorcerer Supreme. But was she though? She used her title to protect Earth, but her ego demanded that in exchange the people of Earth should worship her like a goddess. Seems like a fair trade. Missing the title and her time being worshipped, she challenged Doctor Strange for the title and actually succeeded in weakening him enough that he gave it up to her. That's right, she actually beat Doctor Strange. Not only that, but during a rematch with Strange, she proved to be hard to beat once again. At one point, it looked like Strange actually might lose again when she managed to find him and his sanctuary in null space, breaking into it while wielding enhanced powers bestowed upon her by the Vishanti. Fortunately, Doctor Strange found just enough strength to banish her limbs to separate dimensions, and using her own power against her, ended up defeating her. Whew, that was close. But she gave him a run for his money. Number 6, Ayamoto. Ayamoto is known for being the first Sorcerer Supreme. He is often recognized as being the first ever Sorcerer Supreme, and though mortal, is not believed to have been quite human. He fought alongside the Stone Age Avengers and is the one responsible for creating many of the magical items that we see Doctor Strange and other Sorcerer Supremes use today, including the Eye of Agamotto, the Orb of Agamotto, and the Book of the Vishanti. bounty. Ayamoto would later go on to become a villain despite being a hero initially, after becoming greatly disappointed in the modern-day Sorcerer Supremes. There's nothing worse than when someone who was the first Sorcerer Supreme is like, I'm so disappointed in you. Ayamoto believed both Doctor Strange and later Dr. Voodoo, or Brother Voodoo, were unworthy of this title. How rude. Number 5, the Ancient One. Everyone wants to be the first Sorcerer Supreme. While it is believed that Ayamoto was first, and Salome claimed apparently to be the first Earthling to become Sorcerer Supreme or something like that, the Ancient One is also referred to as the first Sorcerer Supreme as well, because I guess being first makes you appear more powerful, so yeah, everyone wants to be first. Though to be honest, the Ancient One, also known as Yao, does not really need a first qualifier at all to be considered one of the most powerful Sorcerer Supremes. Yao had been fighting evil sorcerers since he was a little kid, and became initially known as the only person who was able to match the evil force known as Dormammu, at the time at least. Yao gets his name, the Ancient One, from an order that he once belonged to, the Ancient Ones, who dedicated their lives to fighting against evil magic users. Seems to make sense for like sort of his whole life stuff. Works for him, I think. Number 4, Wiccan. In issue 36 of Wolverine and the X-Men, during Battle of the Atom, this alternate version of Billy Kaplan made his first appearance. This version of Wiccan is both the Sorcerer Supreme and is also a member of the X-Men. He also has a really sweet cape, even nicer than Doctor Strange's, in my humble opinion. This alternate version of Wiccan hails from Earth 13729. He belongs to the same reality as Reyes and Charles Xavier II, who we've talked about a few times on the channel, both pretty villainous kids of Mystiques, each in their own way. Wiccan makes our cut because he not only has all the power of Doctor Strange and that awesome cape, but also brings his own magical skills to the table. And as with many people who inherit the name of Sorcerer Supreme, he could be expected to be more powerful than his predecessors. Though, of course, he loses a few points for being from an alternate reality and not the main continuity. Still, in Earth 616, Billy is still thought of first when it comes to potential Sorcerer Supreme candidates. Or at least he's one of the first people we think of. Number 3, Magic. Magic has always been thought of as a great candidate for Sorcerer Supreme. In a few glimpses into alternate realities in the comics, this was also actually possible. In one reality, this happened where Illyana was free to develop and grow without the distractions of the X-Men. Here we saw her achieve her true potential and become the Sorcerer Supreme herself. We've also seen her become the Sorcerer Supreme 2 other times, at least, both in What Ifs. In one other story, she became the Sorcerer Supreme of the year 2099 in an alternate future, but looked the exact same as she does today, due to her using magic to dramatically slow the effects of aging. Yeah. In another story that comes to us from A What If by Leah Williams, she escapes limbo and ends up becoming Doctor Strange's apprentice from a young age, studying under him her entire life and eventually taking his place as Sorcerer Supreme. I think this is like one of everybody's favorite stories when it comes to us seeing magic as a Sorcerer Supreme. It's really good. Yeah, and then I put the links to those issues we talked about. Number 2, Dr. Voodoo. From the start, Brother Voodoo was basically a magical prodigy. After the death of his brother, he agreed to take up the mantle of Hungan to avenge his brother's death and protect the community from those who had harmed them. He reached out to his brother's mentor, Papa Jumbo, and excelled almost immediately at magic, mastering in weeks what it actually had taken his brother years to master. He would later also bind his brother's soul to himself so that Daniel, his brother, would always be with him and be able to help him along his way. Jericho Drum, aka Brother Voodoo, then set out. He not only is a powerful magic user, but also has his own powerful artifacts in addition to the items granted to him when he became Sorcerer Supreme, replacing Dr. Stephen Strange. In addition to Strange's mystical items, he also has the Staff of Legba, a powerful weapon when used against other mystical beings, and which is capable of fighting off Dormammu's influence, and the Monkey's Paw, a powerful but devious item which can grant wishes. But be careful if you make a wish with the Monkey's Paw. It's probably not going to go the way you want it to go. Number 1, Doctor Strange. Of course, still no one alive can beat Stephen Strange when it comes to who is the best at Sorcerer Supreme. At least not yet. Doctor Strange remains the most powerful living Sorcerer Supreme to date, at least for now. While he has not always won every battle, he usually wins the longer game, being the victor in the war between good and evil. And while he is also put in situations that are less than ideal, he is willing to do whatever he believes it takes to keep the world safe, even if it costs him his reputation or his title. Which is also why he's one of the greatest characters out there, because originally Stephen Strange as a person was not so free of ego. Doctor Strange is both the master of white and black magic, has accomplished more than even Ayamoto could, who was the very first Sorcerer Supreme, let's not forget, we believe anyways at this point, and possesses such powerful magical energy that he could even destroy galaxies with it by accident, were he not careful. Not even like full energy either, just like residual magic energy. That's how dangerous he is. Who do you think is the most powerful Sorcerer Supreme around? Who would you love to see take up the mantle in the future or the past? And let us know in the comments below who your pick would be for a full series where we actually follow someone else as Sorcerer Supreme. Either one of those other sorcerers or your own favorite pick. Or, I mean, if you love Brother Voodoo, you've probably already gotten your wish. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host, Amanda McKnight, saying thank you so much for watching. Till next time, you stay nerdy, YouTube.